right? All right. And then when we look at the positive impacts of the internet, right, online commerce, right? Most of us probably would be doing this, right? We are buying our clothes, right? Our books, what not, electronics, everything is online. We don't need to go to the shops and we don't need to stand in the queue for buying the things. And then easy access to the quality learning, right? Because of the online medium, we can learn at our own pace. We don't need to go to the college, right? And then easy networking, when I say easy networking, this is basically for our office communication. And then a lot of research papers are available on the net. And then we can meet with our colleagues, we can meet with our industry experts through the networking. And then access to web seminar, thanks to the technology, thanks to the Zoom platform. Today we are here from various parts of the world, right? And then equal opportunity. If you probably, if you have seen earlier when we used to have the, in-person meetings, probably the person who talks more used to dominate or influence the meeting, right? Because people are shy, they don't want to talk. But now the platforms, online platforms like Zoom and Microsoft and Google Meet and all, they have given us, the equal opportunity. Anybody can raise their hand and they can say, I want to express my view, right? Earlier, that opportunity was not there. And then developing new relationships and friendships, we have so many apps to do that. And quick to connect transaction, because thanks to the digitization and digital transformation, various countries are adopting these digital transformations. And then we are able to quickly do the transactions, right? The financial transactions especially. Earlier, if I have to send money to my friend from US to India or my parents, right? It used to take a lot of time, at least 1 week. But now with a click of button, you can transfer the money, right? And then better teaching and remote access, because especially when you look at the villages and the developing countries, or some of the developed countries also, when the in the remote villages, when there is no network, people never used to have this kind of opportunity to learn the things. But now, thanks to all the network and 4G, 5G, 3G, whatever it is, people are able to access. And flexibility in working, we have seen in the work from home. And then teletherapy and telemedicine, very important aspect of application of technology, especially for the remote villages. People are able to access the doctors, access their medicines or access their reports through the telemedicine platform. And they don't need to go to hospitals. Doctors don't need to go to remote villages, but still they can connect. So these are the definitely the advantages of internet. At the same time, there are definite negative impact is also there. We will look at that. So cyberbullying, very, very important thing, because many kids are, especially the kids are online, they are being bullied by both their peers as well as adults. We have in many cases. And then cyber pornography, because of the access to the internet, right? And then many people started using cyber pornography, and it, the trend has increased in the last few years. And sextortion, this is the newest form of cyber exploitation, where either a man or a woman calls you, and they will have very sweet conversations with you, romantic conversations with you, and they'll influence you to participate in some kind of sexual activities, and they record that and they start blackmailing you. And then this is called honey trapping, especially being used for blackmailing. Many business people are probably sometimes in the defense personnel, right? Where, because there are a lot of secrets are with the defense people, and then some people go there and talk to them very nicely, and they try to exploit them, and they try to get the secrets leaked out. And cybercrime, probably you all are aware about the hacking. Hacking into our machines and stealing our data. And then sex trafficking is another big thing which is happening across the globe, especially the kids and women, right? Especially the kids. They are being exploited from the developing or least developed countries. They are being influenced by the people to take part in sexual activities, and they record it, and then they're selling it in the dark web. Big problem is happening. And then some of you may be aware, phishing, wishing, smishing. How many of you are aware? Can you please type yes if you know? Phishing is basically, they send you an email with a link. And then if you click, all your data is lost. You lose control of your machine. Wishing is, using the voice talk, they will try to influence you. And smishing is you sending the SMS, sending the messages, and then using that messages, if you click that message again, they will, steal the data. And these are some of the inappropriate use of internet by the criminals. And then few more, internet addiction, right? So many cases are coming up nowadays, especially the teenagers, adolescents, small, kids. They're all getting addicted to the internet, and they're spending more time on the internet, internet. And then gaming addiction, we have seen the, games like PUBG, Blue Whale, where they influence the small kids, to commit suicide or to, cut their, hands, etc. And the online gambling, again, it's becoming very prominent. Though people are losing a lot of money, still they don't want to come out of that habit because they are addicted to it. And then lack of focus and lack of attention. When we have seen this, like in, when the online classes were going on, they put themselves on the mute on one laptop, and then they started using their mobile phones for gaming and all those things, right? And then fake news. There is so much of fake news happening around the world. Somebody says Russia is good, somebody says Ukraine is good, somebody says Russia bombed somebody else, somebody says Ukraine bombed Russia. We don't know which is fake, which is not fake, right? And there was so much of information about the COVID. You do this one, you will be better, you will get better. Or you take that injection, you will get better, right? Kind of things. And the hazards of cyber dating, especially they are targeting the single, men, women, and also some of the, old age people. And, they talk to them and then they try to cheat them of the money. And then these people, especially the old age people, because they think that they lose their reputation if they tell that out or report it out, they don't tell. And that is leading to a lot of, suicidal cases as well. And then cyberchondria. This is, again, because of the accessibility, the internet is there everywhere. And then if a person gets headache, probably that headache can be, he can get rid of that headache by using a small tablet or small medicine. But he goes and searches in the internet and thinks that he's having a tumor. And then he gets into anxiety, right? And these are not one-off cases. We are hearing this so many times. Many people are, coming up with these kind of issues. And then new issues due to latest technology and dark web. We are again coming to metaverse, right? Recently, there is a case reported where, in metaverse, actually, you can create avatars, right? You can hide your own identity and you can create your own identity, your new identity. Right? And then using the virtual platforms, you can try to touch the other person who, though he is not in front of you. So using this technology, people started exploiting, people started misusing it. And there is a case reported of the cyber rape. So in front of that woman, right, the batch of people, they are, inappropriately touching, the virtual identity of the person. And then we talk about the Google, Yahoo, and all. That is just a surface web. It is only 4%. But below that, there is something called deep web and dark web. That is where most of this, human trafficking, virtual human trafficking, the drug trafficking, everything happens, right? So what is happening because of this is the data privacy, right? We are losing our data. So now most of our e-commerce, companies, they have our data, including our identity cards. Virtual identity, people are, hiding their own identity and going into a new identity so that they will not be, the police and the government will not be able to trace them. And the cyber laws, at this point of time, all countries, or most of the countries, they are trying to come up with the stringent cyber laws, but still we are in a very nascent stage. Criminals are faster than us, right? And then what is the impact on health? Because of continuous watching at the screen time, longer screen times, right? We are getting eye strain and then depression. We talked about lack of concentration. And then when people are get addicted to internet and all, they don't know how they are sitting. They don't, observe their own posture. So because of that, there are issues with the posture. And then sleep problems. And then they are not able to, there is no physical activity, so obesity is coming up, and reduced creativity because they all get used to, the kind of moving screens. And the creativity is lost because they're just spending time watching, the screens. And then that is also leading to aggressive behavior because withdrawal, symptoms, and then the addiction, and then phobias, a lot of things, and behavioral problems and poor attention span. So social media is basically a silent killer of your mental health unless we are cautious about it. I'll show you a small video here. It's a 30-second video. Unfortunately or fortunately, it is in Tamil, which is probably some of you may not be able to understand. But just look at the behavior of the kid right there. Yeah, just forget about the language which was demonstrated, but the basic essence here is, the kid, though he's not having phone in his hand, right? He's pretending as if the phone is there. And, he's so used to it and so addicted to it, he's not able to, stay without acting like that, right? Which is very dangerous concern, correct? Can you please go on mute? I don't know who's that. All right. So, you can understand the gravity of the situation there, right? And then some more data. During pandemic, there has been 200% increase in the online usage, social media, online games, and there is over 400% rise in the cyber crime cases in 2020. Remember, this is only the reported cases. There are so many unreported cases are there because people do not know how to respond. People do not know where to report, and people do not want to report because they are afraid of losing their reputation. Right? And 70% of kids are addicted to mobile, including below 10 years. So before pandemic, if you look at it, most of the like teenagers are probably the late or early adolescents, are people who are in like any 18, 19, 20 years. They used to get addicted, but now even kids below 10 years, they're getting addicted because of the access. And then 47% of adolescents have moderate internet addiction and 24% have high level of internet addiction. So again, typically in the clinical psychology, we classify it into mild, moderate, and severe. So if you look at it, 70% of the kids are either in moderate or severe level of internet addiction, which is a great cause for concern. And then National Committee for Protecting Child Rights, they have conducted, this is in India. So, they have conducted a survey on the age group of 8 to 18 years, and they found that, they're using the mobiles or the devices for the social media like chatting, music, gaming, Facebook, Instagram, and not for the studies, right? And then some live examples, I don't want to go into very detailed things, but we are hearing these every day, day in, day out, right? Some 7-year-old girl lost her eyesight because she was continuously watching An 8-year-old kid, they become addicted and always talking about gaming and videos. And 16-year boy killed his cousin because he want to get the money, because he, took loan for playing online games. And 16-year-old boy left from his house because he spent around 10 lakh rupees or 150,000 US dollars in a month from his mother's bank account for gaming, right? And 16-year-old girl committed suicide because she was not allowed to use the mobile. Like there's so many cases we are hearing, and at least every psychologist is saying that, most of the psychologists are saying that they are getting at least 1 or 2 cases every day. And a renowned psychiatrist, he mentioned that in the last 3 years, girls and boys are using their parents' credit cards for buying weapons in the dark net, right? So these are like, some of the inappropriate uses of the internet. And then if you look at the challenges faced by parents during the school, right? In the academics, the children were not focusing on the studies. They were unable to read few words. And then behaviorally, there were so many issues, right? And they were, watching mobiles for longer time. They were not sleeping properly. That's creating a lot of health issues, stress. And, on the right side, you can see parents are very concerned that health issues may impact their children, right? The stress, internet safety, bullying, school violence, depression, right? And then also what is happening is parents want to bring them out of this addiction. But unfortunately, that is creating some kind of conflict in the relationship between parents and children. Because parents' expectation, because we were all born and brought up in a different age, different generation. And now the kids are device natives. They are born and brought up with the devices. Now there is a conflict between parents and children because, parents' expectations are different and children expectations are different. So unless we understand the generation gap, understand the generation differences, understand generation expectations, it will be very difficult for us to manage the kids, right? So that is the reason why, and many parents are unfortunately, they are not aware of how to handle such situations. And that is every day in, day out, they get into these kind of issues. Mother yells at the kid saying that come out of the, room, come out of the device. And he says 5 more minutes. And then that goes to 1 hour, 1.5 hours, right? Very common situation. This is where the cyber psychology, right, probably sometimes in 1970s and 80s, it started to understand the impact of emerging technology on human behavior. And Mary Eichen, she is one of the world's famous cyber psychologists, a very renowned cyber psychologist, and she has written a book called Cyber Effect. And of course, she has written more articles also, right? So the cyber psychology is basically, it's an interdisciplinary field to study various aspects of psychological phenomena that is resulting out of human interaction with digital technology. So if you can look at computer science, artificial intelligence, web engineering, academics, media, design, how these are all, interrelated together and how they are impacting the psychological phenomena, right? So that is why I'm saying that the online behavior is completely different from offline behavior. We will come to that point a little later, right? So considering all these, effects of internet, both positive and negative, right? There are, good applications of internet in the psychology space. Right? So considering that both positive and negative, the cyber psychology has emerged, right, in the recent times. And so cyber psychology focuses on online behavior and personality and social media use and psychological functioning, how people, get aggressive, and how cyberbullying happens, what are the reasons behind cybercrime, right? What are the online dating behaviors, how online communication patterns, and online marketing, right? The consumer psychology in the cyberspace, and then internet disorder, cybercrime, deviance, telepsychology, virtual reality, all these things, cyber psychologists are researching on these topics to understand the cause and effect, and then how we can apply that in the real life, and then how we can help the people, right? So at this point of time, probably you may get a doubt, what is the difference between cyber security and cyber psychology? Because most of the time we hear about cyber security and very less about cyber psychology. Then what is the difference? Cyber security basically deals with technology. It's with application, software, hardware, infrastructure, right? When the developer software community, when they develop some applications, or when they develop the new hardware, they try to understand how that application or hardware or infrastructure can be hacked, and then they try to put some preventing mechanism. They try to put some firewalls kind of thing, right? So we have in the hacking, we also call ethical hacking, where the ethical hackers actually are good hackers. They try to help the people. Whereas there is a black hat hackers, where they are the hackers which they use technology for the misuse. And then these cybersecurity professionals, they try to prevent if any issue. They try to prevent the issues or prevent the hackers attacking the infrastructure or applications. Or if something happens, probably they will try to correct it by bringing that application up or down or infrastructure up, right? And similarly, they are also trying to predict using artificial intelligence. Now, can we predict if somebody or some infrastructure can be hacked? And in the similar line, cyber psychology, it deals with human beings. It doesn't deal with the machines. It deals with human beings. It deals with human minds. Social engineering. What is social engineering? For example, the organization has developed perfect, secured infrastructure, secured applications, but still that needs access. That access is through password, and that password is known to one or two people. That is where exactly the hackers try to do, by influencing those one or two people to leak the password. And once the password is leaked, that's it. They are inside the system. So that is called human engineering. How we can influence human, not technology. The technology is very robust. The technology is very secure, right? So they cannot penetrate through the technology. So they have to penetrate using human beings. The weakest link is human beings. That is where, all your honey trapping, the extortion, blackmailing, everything comes there, right? And then even cyber psychologists trying to understand the behaviors of the cyber criminals, and they are trying to predict, prevent, and correct, right, if any damage is there. So we need to understand that both cyber security and cyber psychology experts, they have to work together to have a healthy and safe universe. They cannot work in isolation anymore. Okay. So let's look at the mindset. So here probably we will discuss a little bit about the cyber psychology and behaviors and all. So if you look at cyber victims, why somebody becomes a cyber victim? Because of curiosity. As human beings, we are all curious. We get a mail or we get a message saying that your Amazon order is cancelled. So immediately, if a person has ordered something on Amazon, he wants to know why my order is cancelled, and he will try to click that link and go on. Same way, though I have not ordered anything in Amazon, when I get a message saying that your order is cancelled, I'm curious. Okay, who sent this message? What did I order? Or did my wife order something? Or did my spouse order anything? Or did my kid order anything? And I'm more curious to look at that. And then we click the link, our data is gone. An instant gratification. We get a mail saying that you won $100 billion. Very happy, right? And we want to grab it because that is the huge amount. We may not get it by hard working. So we want to get the instant gratification. Immediately we want to become rich overnight. We click the link. Greediness. Though we don't need some things, but somebody says that I'm giving you, because today is, a Happy New Year day, I am offering 50 Benz cars and 50 BMW cars. So I don't need, but still I'll go and try to get it. Social desirability, right? I want to be approved by the people, right? So even if I'm cheated, I don't want to report because people, ill-treat me. People mistreat me, right? A lack of awareness, they don't know where to report. And so again and again, they become cyber victims. And stigma, fear of reporting, again, as I said, I don't want to go to police station. sometimes what happens is, it's not that, hackers and cyber criminals attack only the major organizations. There are two types of criminals. One who attack, we call it as attack vector. They attack bigger organizations because they get big money. But there are criminals who attack small people, right, for $10, $5, but they do it in a massive way. For example, $5, right, or 300 rupees per person, and they want to cheat them. Right? And then they cheat 10,000 people like that. So they get $50,000. But then from our side, because it is a very small amount, I don't want to go and report. Even if I report, I have to go through a lot of hassles. So what I do, I don't report. Right? So that is our mindset. And cyber criminals exactly use our mindset. Easy money. They want to get easy money, right? Because see, if they cheat 10,000 people of like $5, like $50,000, they'll get it immediately. And exploit the lack of awareness. They know that we don't know where to report. And they know, exploit the technology. Sometimes when, the application is released into market, right, we call it a zero-day attack. Where, now many software developers, they're taking care of it, but earlier they used to release the application without much consideration about security controls. So the first day when they launch the application, there are so many loopholes in that application where attackers can directly go there and hack it. So that is called zero-day attack. And exploiting the stigma of cyber victims. As I said, okay, I don't want to lose my reputation. So what happens? The person is again and again attacked. Same way, like, it is for 100 rupees. Do I want to go? For $5, do I want to go and report? So they know exactly you don't report. And that is the reason why they exploit the system. They exploit the human mind. And also they know that, not in many countries, these cyber laws are very stringent. So they know that even if somebody reports, it takes some time to track the criminals. Right? So they know. So they try to exploit that. Right? And the last point is our human mind is really an amazing part. Right? If you look at it, right, probably I will just give you an example. Can you read this? How many of you can read without any? Don't think too much, just read it, right? And just say yes if you are read. Right? So what we do is our mind can process the information though it is scrambled. Sometimes even if some letters are missing, still we try to read it as if that letter is there, right? The alphabet is there. So here, if I have to read this, do you find this simple to read? Because of the phenomenal power of human mind, most people do. Right? I'm not really looking at the most spelling is, MSOT. It is not MOST. Similarly, YOU. No, it is YUO. Exactly the same thing. The mind is being hacked, right? So what happens is you get a message like this, from Amazon.com. Instead of O, they say 0. And our mind, because we are in fast, we want to process it fast. We want to do it, under pressure. So we don't care whether it is 0 or O. And we become victims. And similarly, Amazon.com, ZON versus ZAN, right? We don't care. And then Amazon.buy.com, this is not actually Amazon.com. Any organization should have their name.com as the website name. But sometimes we get a mail saying that Amazon.buy.com. That means it is not Amazon, but still we think it is Amazon's offer. The last one is the legitimate website, but all the other three are not. But our human mind cannot process that if we want to do it in a hurried manner. We get a mail, we are very curious, we just go and gone. Our data is leaked, right? We lose our control. So be careful. Next time, whenever you are, going into these kind of sites, please observe whether it is the legitimate, the URL, the link, whether the website is legitimate or not, right? And now we look at online versus offline behaviors, right? As I said, there are differences in online versus offline, right? So we call it as an online disinhibition effect. John Suler, probably 1980s, he found this. What is online disinhibition effect? People in cyberspace, they behave differently when they are online versus they are offline. They loosen up and they reveal a lot of personal information to the strangers. And they express their opinions without fear. Why do they do that? You can't see me. It is called invisibility. The other person can't see you, right? You don't know me. You don't know the other person. See you later. So what happens is, for example, you get a message saying that, I'm giving you a free ebook. Give me $2. We think, okay, $2 or 100 rupees or 150 rupees is very less. So we pay it immediately. And then we send a screenshot to the person, but the person is gone because he doesn't need to respond. But if it is in the person, face-to-face meeting, when you give him the money, he has to give you the book, right? But in these cases, because see you later, the asynchronity, right? It is not synchronous communication. So what happens is, when you send a mail, you will keep waiting for that person. And the other person is gone. And similarly, when your friend is typing you some message, and then you respond, and suddenly what happens is, when the person is not there, you will get so much of curious. What happened to that person? Why he is not responding to me? Whether he likes me, he doesn't like me, right? So many thoughts go in our mind. And then it is just a game. When cyber criminals, they start with this, okay, my identity in offline is different. My identity in online is different. So they create fake identity just for fun purpose. But then they get attached. They make it as a habit, and they get addicted to it, and they start doing all the criminal activities, thinking that nobody can trace them. So that is the reason why we see difference between online and offline. So your online behavior is basically combination of the psychology, cyber psychology, and the adolescent development, the family, how we are developed, what happened in our family, right? And then the individual personality. All this together, right, makes our behavior online. And other psychology behind social media addiction. People post something in social media groups, and then what happens? They expect someone to like or comment. Right? Natural, because we have posted something and somebody has to like it, right? As a human being, we expect that. And then we keep checking our devices, whether anybody has liked it or not, right? Keep on checking. And a person, at least they check 15 to 20 times per hour their devices. And then somebody likes, your phone buzzes, gives you a notification saying that, okay, somebody liked. And your neurochemical dopamine is released, because dopamine is released whenever you feel that you have accomplished something, you are recognized for something, right? And then what happens is, again, keep checking. Okay, now 1 like came. Then did I get more likes? Again, go and check. At the same time, he tries to put something else because he's getting likes. He wants to go and put something else. Again, the loop starts, expecting someone to like it. So this is a never-ending story. So that is the reason why social media addiction comes, because somebody likes, or dopamine is released, and then we keep checking for mails, keep checking for likes, right? So this is the psychology behind social media addiction, and this happens especially for the teenagers. And the need of the 35% of the population are below 20 years of age, and online addiction is leading to emotional, behavior, and physical and cognitive issues. So this can ruin entire next generation. Especially if you take India, it is 48% of the kids are under 20. So teachers, parents, family members, psychologists, psychiatrists, technologists, policymakers, government, everybody has to take part in this, right? To help them. all of us have collective responsibility to help the children and nurture them in the right way. We need to nurture the next generation in right way. Right? They are addicted to this, cyber things, which we need to bring them out of it. Right? And be a cyber champion. Understand various cyber behavior awareness. Right? How cyber, how people behave in this online, offline. Cyber crime awareness. What are the different types of crimes happening? Cyber law awareness. What is your right? How can you, report it? Who can help you? Cyber hygiene. What are the different, good hygiene we need to follow in terms of de-addictions or in terms of digital fasting, right? Or in terms of controlling the screen time. Protect yourself and your family. Very important. And healthy and safe universe. You can help, becoming a healthy and safe universe. Thank you all. Have a good weekend.